Last time I made a video called What is Emotional Intelligence and Why is it Important? Now I'm going to be making a couple of videos that are going to help you develop emotional intelligence. One of the requirements to being emotionally intelligent is to understand what you are feeling and why. However, most people do not have the emotional vocabulary to accurately describe their feelings. So when they try to describe their emotions, they usually talk about the events that cause them to feel that way instead of the emotions themselves. So today I'm going to explain what Sashet is so we can better understand and describe our emotions. So what is Sashet? Sashet is a 6-letter acronym that stands for sad, angry, scared, happy, excited, and tender. You're probably familiar with all of those emotions except for tender. Tender is the positive emotion you feel toward loved ones. Think of the last time you hugged your significant other, a family member, or a good friend and told them I love you. The emotion you were feeling was tenderness. You need to always keep in mind that these are the 6 main emotions. All other words that can describe your emotions are just denominations of these 6. Depressed, disappointed, and sorry go under sad. Frustrated, furious, and indignant go under angry. Nervous, uncomfortable, and terrified go under scared. Ecstatic, gleeful, and satisfied go under happy. Eager, aroused, and thrilled go under excited. Love, attachment, and fondness go under tender. So on and so forth. There is no getting around Sashet. When thinking of your emotions, you may either identify the Sashet emotion first and then think of the denomination that describes the emotion in a more specific way, or the other way around. It might be helpful to create a list that is split into the different letters of Sashet and then write as many denominations for the main emotion so you can refer to it in the future. It may surprise you how few words you think of, and it may surprise you how easy it is to come up with words for negative emotions instead of positive ones. I know I had to look up synonyms for some of the Sashet words for the list I provided a while ago, but that's the point of this little exercise, to come up with more words and increase our emotional vocabulary. So now that we know of some words that we can use to describe our emotions, we now need to be on the lookout for the emotions we feel throughout the day. We usually go through our lives on autopilot and don't even notice our emotions, so forcing ourselves to pay attention to it will be difficult. One way to do it is, rather than relying on ourselves to remember to pay attention to our emotions when they happen, is to set a time every day to write in a journal. It can either be a reminder on your phone to write it down in an app, or maybe you set aside a few minutes before bed to write it down by hand. During this time, recall any emotions or events that made you feel emotions. Describe them as best you can using emotional vocabulary and avoid talking about just the details of the event. If there's someone you trust, try describing it to them and see if they are able to understand what you are trying to convey. If you can't identify any emotions at the time, it doesn't mean you didn't feel anything the whole day. Remember, Sashet is inescapable. We are feeling at least one of these emotions at all times. If you can't identify any, you may not have been attuned well enough, or perhaps the intensity of the emotion was so low that it flew under your radar. When you start out, this is okay. Just like with anything, this takes practice. Think of your ability to identify emotions as a muscle that you need to strengthen. Just like a routine to build muscle at a gym, you need a routine for exercising your emotion identifying muscle. Set the days and times and stick to the schedule. The goal is to be so in tune with your emotions that you can identify and describe them as you're feeling them. It might be easy to miss certain feelings, or there might be a temptation to flat out disregard them. It's possible to feel multiple emotions at once, so be sure not to miss any, as more powerful emotions can hide others. Sometimes we may not want to admit that we're feeling a certain way because we think we shouldn't feel that way, or because we know it is illogical to feel that way. Avoid the temptation to do this. Regardless of what you think, what other people think, and the logic behind that emotion, you are feeling that emotion, and that emotion is affecting your thoughts and behavior, which makes that emotion real and valid, and it must be acknowledged and addressed. Once you are able to identify and describe your emotions, try identifying why you feel that way. People don't feel emotions for no reason, as much as that may seem. Identifying the why can be as hard as identifying what emotions you're feeling in the first place. The topic of where emotions come from and why we feel a certain way when certain things happen warrants a video of its own, so I'll be diving deeper into that later. For now, just try following the cookie crumbs back to the reason why you feel the way you do. Once you understand what you are feeling and why, you will be armed with the data needed to make good decisions based on your emotions. I will also be talking about how to make these decisions in a future video. I'm now going to give an example of how I applied this in a therapy session. My therapist had me describe my day with emotional vocabulary. I told him that I received my new 10TB hard drive in the mail that I was planning on installing in my computer. My 500GB hard drive was getting full and I had no room to store projects like my YouTube videos. However, the new hard drive did not come with a SATA cable, which meant I needed to use the SATA cable that the old hard drive was using, which meant I had to uninstall the old hard drive, since they both couldn't be installed at the same time. time because the project was more involved than I initially realized thanks to the lack of an extra SATA cable. I didn't have the time to finish the installation the same day. My therapist asked me how I felt about installing the hard drive and I said I was excited. He asked how I felt when I realized I didn't have the SATA cable. Initially, I didn't come up with emotional words to describe what I felt. In fact, I wasn't even sure what I felt. I said it sucked, but overall I was still excited that I was going to install the hard drive soon. He then probed me to see if he could find what emotion I felt. He asked, "Did you feel angry? Like, darn, I can't install this hard drive today." I said no, I wasn't angry. I thought hard about it and realized when it happened, my mood went down. I said, "I guess I was disappointed." He said, "There you go, you were sad," because disappointment is a sub-emotion of sad. I said yes, but overall I was still excited. I described it as a math equation. The total excitement was subtracted by the disappointment, but because the excitement was greater than the disappointment, the net was still excitement, although now diminished. I'm tracking with you on that logic there, but the fact of the matter is you felt sad in that moment and you need to be able to say that. It might feel weird to say that because it's not like you started crying. The emotion was brief and small, but it was there. And as weird as it may feel to say you were sad, you need to practice saying with confidence, "Yes, I was sad." And so I said, yes, I was sad in that moment. Hopefully that example helps, and I hope you got something from watching this video. Sincerely, just a guy trying to be better.